It's still hot and humid. You know, some people say in the Southwest it's a dry heat. And some people say that doesn't matter. I would like to try, you know. Some high desert, like Western Colorado. You know, Western Colorado seems nice. Here the cost of living is a bit steep, but you know. Cost of dying's even steep these days. Welcome to Cassette Story. Boy, that was a pleasant start, wasn't it? Anyway, we had Pantera on side A on Thursday. I should probably mention Cassette Story is going to probably either be Wednesday or Thursday, depending on my workload for any given week. Some weeks it might be on Wednesday, as it's supposed to be. Other weeks it might end up on Thursday, which is, you know, the Wednesday after Wednesday. Anyway, let's move on to today's entry, which was one, kind of a polarizing one in this gentleman's career. Also kind of a fork in the road for his career because, yeah. Because something happened on this album that had not happened on any of his albums before. And I am talking, of course, about Joe Satriani. Flying in a Blue Dream on Relativity Records. Of course, Joe Satriani, famous guitar player, excellent guitar player, one of the all-time greats, one of the greats of his era. Surfing with the Alien was kind of his breakthrough album. That was, a lot of people loved it, did really well. For instrumental guitar, I mean, that album was huge. Did not own that album for a long time. Just never really could get into it. But this one I could get into because A, is deeply weirder, and B, he sang for the first time. On his other albums, they were all instrumental records. He's done a lot of instrumental stuff, but he started adding vocals on this album. There's a few songs he sings on. And Big Bad Moon is an excellent song. Can't Slow Down, excellent song. I mean, he doesn't have, you know, he's not going to be doing any arias, we'll say that. But, you know, for what he does, his voice is plenty good enough for what he does, which is just, you know, shred like there's no tomorrow. The voice is kind of secondary. The phone call on here, oh my goodness. That song always puts a little smile on my face. So, but there's also some instrumental stuff like The Bells of Shabalal or whatever it's called. So let's take a look at this Combat Relativity. Oops, just Relativity, I guess. Yeah, it's very blue motif on everything because it was the Flying in a Blue Dream album. See, is that the famous picture of him? No, he doesn't. Oh yeah, this is the picture of him where he's like, oh, look at this, I got lyrics. And of course they're printed in here. Yeah, I have this on CD as well as cassette, and at my college radio station they had the vinyl LP, so I've heard a lot of these songs on vinyl LP as well. I don't know if there's an 8-track version of this. It's your basic 1990 Relativity Records job, clear, no visible screws. Snapped together. It's got the weird texture difference. Like this is all smooth, but this has got kind of a rough coarse feel to it. The Bells of Lal, that's the one. I don't know where I got Shabalal from. I actually saw Joe Satriani in concert in the Twin Cities, and we got tickets for it, and we thought they were good seats. But it was in a very small theater, and our seats were actually in the very back row. However, since it was a smaller theater, they were still pretty good seats. This is shortly after he shaved his head, and that was his new look going on. It was like after the Time Machine double album, or the one with the clocks on it. I don't remember what that one's called. I should know, I have it. But yeah, it was a really good show. There's a long stretch in the middle where we did instrumental stuff, and I kind of almost fell asleep. But that not in a bad way. It's just the music is the lights and the music and everything. It just kind of lulls you into a, ooh, yeah, it's just very relaxing. It's like the most relaxing rock concert I've ever been to, but it was also very good. Can't complain. So yeah, I've seen Joe Satriani live. It was me, my friend Brian, John, and Christmas. We called him that. It wasn't his name, but his first name was Chris, and his last name sounded like Muss. It wasn't. It was Ness. So he was just called. His nickname was Christmas. So we just called him that. So anyway, we are killing time before the show. And our friend Brian jokingly points out a bookstore. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like books. And John's like, yeah, I could use a new book to read. And Christmas is like, sure, yeah, let's go to the bookstore. And Brian's like, wait, you guys are serious? And they're like, yeah, we like bookstores. And as we're walking up to the bookstore, I'm like, the sun was shining on the wall outside. And I'm like, oh, they got the blinds down. I suppose you don't want the sun to bleach the book. It was not a bookstore in that sense. We found out. This is not that kind of bookstore. This is not a Barnes & Noble or a B. Dalton or a Walden Books. So, thanks to a misunderstanding on our part, I ended up in my first sex shop. Which was a thing. I knew it was a thing. I just never been to one as a thing. I was like 20, 21 years old. And that was quite a thing. This guy just walked in and like, oh, we're here now. So we might as well look around or else we're going to look weird walking in and walking out. So, yeah, that was a thing to do before the show. It was I can't remember what it was called. Down in downtown Minneapolis. I'm probably not still there. Maybe it is. Who knows? But yeah, that was yeah, Brian had a good laugh at us the whole rest of the day, at night, and on the way back. And if he's watching this, he's probably laughing his ass off again. And he might be, because he's still my friend. And he also likes Joe Satriani a lot. But does Joe Satriani still cassette? That's the question of this show. More or less. So let's get out the old Radio Shack here, slip in Flying in a Blue Dream, and that sounds like a guitar. I'll wait for it to kick in, even though that's a greater chance of me being busted again for, you know, copyright claim. Maybe it's this let's find out. I'm going to play this a little longer than usual because my last copyright claim was for this label too. Relativity. I don't know. I'm not trying to monetize on your back there, Joe. So just a genuine fan who's seen you in concert, who still can't believe that the only time I've done this where it got copyright claim flagged was for a Scatterbrain. Don't call him dude still. So yeah, that was a cassette story for today. Flying in a Blue Dream, Joe Satriani, with a detour into an adult bookstore. You know, they really need a better name for that. Because I was thinking, I was excited to buy some books. They did not sell any of the kind of books I wanted at the time. Let's just eject now.